One type after another is currently scheduled for retirement, not to be replaced. The ships will not stay in service without airplanes. I wish to leave you with a few questions. If America is ever again forced to fight a large-scale conflict that lasts more than a month or two, where are the electricians, welders, and steel going to come from to build more ships? Where will we get tanks, uniforms, rations, and weapons to equip our troops to fight our battles? Who will build the planes to launch and fight from aircraft carriers, if we still have any of those? And finally, where's the fuel going to come from to power the ships and planes and tanks? Once upon a time, we had all these assets. Once upon a time, America was the arsenal of democracy that could vanquish tyranny. Once upon a time, America's people believed that they had a duty to help make the world a safer place for democracy and the rule of law. Once upon a time. Perhaps in the future, we will not need what we have willingly surrendered or traded away in return for lower prices at Walmart, lower prices at the automobile dealers and service stations, and lower taxes. At any rate, we can certainly hope so. As you hear Barrett Tillman's excellent work on the Marianas turkey shoot, reflect upon the dazzling courage and profound determination of those World War II naval airmen, pilots, and aircrew alike. Navigation consisted of a running dead reckoning plot on a board each pilot carried on his lap, with the last known position being the carrier from which he launched. When, or if, he managed to navigate his aircraft to that watery spot where the ship hoped to be at recovery time, the ship might or might not be there. There were no inertial nav systems, no GPS, no computers, not even a TACAN or Omni to home in upon. If the aviator was shot down or his plane malfunctioned, he went into the great wide ocean, there to drown immediately or die slowly of exposure, or become a meal for a shark. In that pre-helicopter age, finding lost airmen was haphazard at best, and no one expected the war to stop while a ship or ships went looking. There were no emergency transponder squawks, locator beacons, or handheld radios. Many Navy pilots and aircrewmen launched from carriers and were never heard from again. I was fortunate enough to fly A-6 intruders during the Vietnam War, and many a night up there in the goo above a dark, lonely sea, I thought about those men with the big cojones who had gone before me. The courage, teamwork, training, professionalism, and aggressiveness that the officers and men of the U.S. Navy exhibited during that battle in June 1944 will always be required of American fighting men and women. The World War II example is their legacy. These qualities in our war fighters are our real assets, and the only ones that will endure. Stephen Kuntz. Preface. Marianas. The word conjures different meanings to different audiences. To oceanographers, it recalls the deepest spot on planet Earth. Located in the Pacific Ocean, the Marianas Trench bottoms out at 36,200 feet, nearly 7 statute miles. Mount Everest would fit with about 7,000 feet to spare. For comparison, the Pacific's average depth is 13,700 feet, while the Atlantic's average is 1,500 feet less. The steep-walled trench runs nearly 1,600 miles, but the deepest part is 210 miles southwest of Guam. That island brings to mind another image of the Marianas. To historians, it harkens the 1944 campaign for control of Guam, Saipan, and Tinian, which became coral nests for the B-29 Firebirds that burned out the urban and industrial heart of Japan. But before the superfortresses arrived, one of the world's most notable sea battles unfolded west of the Marianas. It was the fifth and last time in history that opposing fleets fought major engagements without ever steaming within sight of each other. It went into history as the Battle of the Philippine Sea, and so great was the American victory, it passed into legend as the Great Marianas Turkey Shoot. For such a notable battle, surprisingly little literature has been devoted specifically to the Philippine Sea. As the world's largest aircraft carrier duel, it has been the subject of only 4 previous volumes in 60 years. In contrast, Midway and Leyte Gulf each spawned 15 to 20 noteworthy studies and probably as many minor works. It's a curious situation, considering that the Japanese themselves